Simon Told Helen wins a half length. Zach Manelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard Style Rico by 5 lengths to Simon Told Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back-to-back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a bolder clear. The former Tasmanian Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
And a very good morning, everyone. Tune into Greyhound Gossip in 2023, and a very good morning and Happy New Year to you, Peter O'Neill.
Happy New Year to you, Leia, everyone. Yes, welcome along to Greyhound Gossip, another year we get into, and an exciting year ahead of us as well with the Sandgroper, the first ever slot race for WA Greyhound Racing coming up in April. And it's just around the corner, the Perth Cup as well, Leia. So an exciting time. How was your new year? And you must be excited into the new year. You've already got a finalist in the Birthday Cup, with Panama Pepper making it through.
Yes, and the first race he was in, I was actually in Malaysia with my family, so I got to watch the heat over there and then come back, and he's racing in just a few days, so we're very excited.
We'll get into the Birthday Cup and what happened over the weekend in a few moments, but I just wanted to start off the program on a bit of a sombre moment and send out our condolences to Diane Carmody and her family and the family of John Carmody, who passed away last week, I should say. He was a man, an Irishman, who trained many feature winners, including a Group 2 with the All-Stars with Blocker Stanley. He won Mandurah Cups, Lou Dorsa, Spring Gifts. He won many of the feature races in Western Australia, and he also represented the state with Einstein and Deadly Boy in the WA Sprint and Distance Championships, going on to compete in the Nationals, and he is the record holder for training the first ever greyhound to win at Mandurah, when Mandurah first started back on the 5th of January in 1979. And of course we celebrate with the Birthday Cup this week. But to Diane and all of the family and friends of John Carmody, he certainly will be missed. He was a gentleman, and we'll look forward to reminiscing and remembering him over the years as we go through those feature races, and every year when we have the All-Stars, we'll always remember the great victory of Blocker Stanley and the great man John Carmody, so our condolences to the family. On a brighter note, Leia, we had the Summer Chase final on Saturday night at Cannington, and David Hobby did it again with Adzuki Manelli successful.
He did, yes. In the Summer Chase, Adzuki Manelli took out the win, and then, of course, on Friday, as you mentioned, Pete, we had heats of the Group 2 Birthday Cup.
We did, and another victory on Saturday night was the return of Vice Grip to the winner's circle, and well done to Adam Smithson and the connections of Vice Grip. Last week, Greyhound Clubs Australia brought out their end-of-the-year rankings for the year, and Wow She's Fast was the highest-ranked greyhound for the year, ahead of Good Odds Cash. And at number 5 was the WA-trained Vice Grip, and what a remarkable year he had, winning the Perth Cup and also the Group 2 All-Stars, and represented Western Australia on the East Coast, where he did very, very well in the Top Gun and also the Hobart Thousands. So that's a remarkable feat for a WA greyhound to be ranked number 5 in Australia in the Greyhound Clubs Australia rankings last week. Friday night was a big night for Lewis Clay, Leia, and we had the heats of the Birthday Cup, and Lewis had 3 winners on the program, and probably the biggest of those was the upset of Bones McCoy, who'd only the week before taken out the track star at Mandurah with his remarkable victory on the last night of racing in 2022 for Glenn Curry. But the odds-on favourite went down there on Friday night in the opening heat of the Birthday Cup, and Lewis is about to join us online. Lewis, good morning. Big night for you on Friday night. Happy New Year, and what a start to 2023 for you and the team.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, good morning, Leia and Pete. Yeah, it was just one of those nights that we just had, and you don't get them very often, but you got to take them when you can. And it was just, I don't know what really happened, to be honest. It just all happened so fast, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Remarkable start with the opening heat. Were you surprised that you were able to win the opening heat on the program there on Friday night? Bones McCoy, as I mentioned, was the short price favourite, and Launch Control, a greyhound who's got a very good record from box number 1 and who ran second to Bones McCoy only a few starts before, was able to take out the opening heat.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised, to be honest. I thought, well, he's got no early speed whatsoever over 400, so I knew we were always going to be back. I know he's strong. We always were going to need a bit of luck with a bit of collision up the front. And when I saw it at the front and he was only a couple lengths off and going around the 300 boxes, I thought, he could be a little bit of a sniff here. And yeah, he's got marvellous track sense. He knows how to weave his way through the field. And yeah, once he got around into the top of the straight, I thought he was going to be hard to hold out. And yeah, he was just too strong late. So yeah, that was a great victory. And yeah, got lucky, but we take him.
Lewis, I've got the box draw here in the final. In box 1, Fabriola Ali. Box 2, Launch Control. In the 3, Weston Cider, Crumble Manelli has drawn box 4. In 5, Fire Cloud. In the 6, Naval Guard, Gangnam Manelli jumps out of box 7. And in the 8, Panama Pepper. What are your thoughts of the draw?
Well, for my chases, it's probably okay, but not great. Yeah, Launch Control is just going to be... He'll be last and hopefully running on, just hoping for a place at best. Because if Crumble Manelli begins, I think we'll all be running for second. He'll be too quick for all of us. But then, yeah, also Gangnam's going really good. He's returned back in form. And wide draw won't affect him, but obviously if Panama Pepper steps and gets across us, it's going to be hard to catch him as well. So, yeah, if I run a place with any of them, both of my runners, I'll be very happy.
Tab Touch has the market. Lewis's Fabriol Ali from box 1 at $5.50. Launch Control $21. Weston Cider $34. Crumble Manelli in box 4 is the favourite at the moment at $2.25. Fire Cloud at $12. Naval Guard $34. Gangnam Manelli $26 and Panama Pepper. You mentioned his form down at Mandurah. Didn't have a lot of luck in his heat, but was able to qualify importantly. Currently at $2.80. What did you make of the run of Good Odds Buzz? Nicely related, being a little brother to Good Odds Emma. How long is he going to be in your care for? Is he only over for this series, or will he stay in WA?
No, he's staying in WA. Yeah, he got sent over here for this race. And yeah, he's going to stay over here now. Obviously, he's a little bit underdone. We had a few injury concerns beforehand. He came over a long time ago. He's had a few injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, he was trialling up okay. We knew that 400 was going to be just on the max first up. But yeah, I reckon give him 2 or 3 runs and he get his fitness back. I reckon, yeah, he'll be much better, and he's got really good early speed and he chases like a demon. So the 400 metres should suit. Just a kind of bit of a bummer that Mandurah's getting shut down in a couple of months, that's all.
Lewis, is there anything you're focusing on or aiming for heading into this new year, whether it be with the kennels or even with golf maybe?
Well, I've got a lot of pups coming through. I've just had a couple of litters, so we're flat out with them at the moment. But yeah, obviously we've got a good little team building up, and I'm actually really looking forward to the start of this year. We've got a few nice dogs coming through and stuff like that. And yeah, not really much in golf. I actually played down at Capel this weekend and went quite well, so can't complain. But yeah, the golf's going good as well.
And Lewis, just before we let you go, you mentioned the closure of Mandurah, which comes up in around about April, and it came out in the news from the kennel notes during the week, was the fact that once the Mandurah track is closed, there's going to be a trial period, and we're seeing it in New Zealand at the moment, a trial period where you'll have preferential box draws, so you'll be able to choose which box supposedly you would do, and that's over the 275 metres initially at Cannington. How do you see that working in WA?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I haven't really had a good think. I only really heard of it a couple of days ago, so I really haven't had a good think about it. But yeah, it might make racing a little bit fairer. But yeah, I don't really have a really good opinion on it, to be honest, Pete.
I don't think it's been really well discussed. I haven't heard a lot about it either. I read it for the first time over the weekend, so it's going to be interesting how it actually does play out, and I'm sure there'll be more information coming out on how it's actually going to work here in Western Australia and the trial basis, how many trials it'll be on, but we'll hear more about that anyway. A great start to 2023 for you, Lewis, for you and the kennel. Good luck on Friday night in the final, and thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
So Lewis Clay, who's got a couple of finalists through, and he had 3 runners through on Friday night, or 3 winners on Friday night, and 2 of those in the Birthday Cup. And yes, with New Zealand Greyhound Racing trialling the preferential box draws over there, it'll be interesting how it does go here in Western Australia. And as I said, it's the first I'd heard of it, and I'm sure there'll be more information coming out. A man who's certainly calling a lot of feature races at the moment is our next special guest, and that is John Brasch, who joins us from Queensland. We had the Derby and the Futurity and also the running of the Golden Sands there on Thursday night. John Brasch joins us. Happy New Year. John, Peter O'Neill and also Leia Ernest with you.
Peter and Leia, good morning to you both. Happy New Year to everyone listening through your radio this morning. Yes, very exciting times here in Queensland at the moment. We're smack bang in the middle of the Golden Grey Summer Carnival, and we had a very big night at Albion Park on Thursday night with those three features, and it was the girls pretty much the night out. Gemma Daly, also Jetta Cutlack were to the fore with those feature races at Albion Park on Thursday night. There are a young couple of young ladies coming through the training ranks, and it's good to see that the young are getting involved in greyhound racing, and these ladies to the fore. And on Thursday night, taking up the Golden Sands with Shay, with Jetta Cutlack. We had Gemma winning the other feature, the Futurity, with Tahara's Pandora, and then, of course, Selena Zammit coming along with J to take out the Queensland Derby.
We've heard of the Zammit name for many, many years, John, and we'll get to the Derby in a moment. But tell us a little bit about Gemma Daly. She looks like she's got a really smart litter. She ran first and third from memory in the Futurity and third in the Derby with a couple of smart young pups.
Yeah, Gemma is a former galloping jockey in her younger days, and she's probably in her late 30s, I would suggest now. And she was a jockey and had a successful career until she got out of the industry there and came into greyhound racing, and she met up with a former trainer in Mike Stevenson, who's now passed away, and Tony Glover, who has a lot of these Hara's greyhounds. And when Mike passed away, Gemma became part of the kennel there, and she's taken over the training a lot of Tony Glover's greyhounds with the Hara's tag, and she's become very, very successful over the last 12 months or so.
And what about Jetta Cutlack with Shay taking out the Golden Sands? Tell us how she got involved in greyhound racing.
Jetta got involved by working in the kennels at Albion Park about 4 or 5 years ago. She came along and got a job at Albion Park working in the kennels and became associated with a number of trainers, and particularly the Tom Zavellis kennel. And she pretty much helps Tom around his property. And basically, Tom was not in the best of health there early last year. And so Tom signed a lot of the greyhounds over to Jetta to train, and she's been now very successful in her own right.
A massive run by Electrified going down to J in the Derby. Selena Zammit winning with J, but gee, it was a big run by the WA chaser.
Yeah, certainly, Pete. Began very, very quickly on Thursday night, was able to lead early, and then J came up on the outside. Starline Express also was there over the firing line early, and J was able to cross Electrified, but he battled on very, very well in running second there in 29.88. That was a very good performance.
John, it's been really nice hearing that the women in the industry are coming up in the ranks. I love hearing that. Do you find that with all these group events coming up at Albion Park, that not only involved in the industry, but the spectators on track as well, we see more younger people coming through as well as more women spectators? Oh, and I think we have lost John. Pete?
All right, we'll try and get him back online, because that was
very true, Leia, that they've done statistics on the punting side of things, and it's really going gangbusters with the 18 to 35 brigade, that they're getting more and more involved in the greyhound side of things to come along and cheer the greyhounds along, and there is a bigger women in racing coming along as well.
And we also see
John,
that on the ownership side of things. Sorry, Pete, ownership side of things as well, don't we, with the women involved?
Yes, certainly. There's been quite a few initiatives in just having women-only races and things like that. And they're also getting the younger handlers involved. I know recently up at Ipswich, they had a young handlers race that they had to be younger than 18, and they were able to take the greyhounds onto the track, take them to the boxes, box them and things like that. And there was prizes given to the first, second and third handlers there, and they got a real kick out of that. So let's hope there's more of that as well.
Your carnival continues this week, John, with the Golden Ticket. Tell us about that series, match racing, and how it all works out.
Yeah, the Golden Ticket was renamed a couple of years ago, Pete. It was the old Gold Coast Cup. Of course, we haven't had the Gold Coast since 2008, and then Albion Park took on the Gold Coast Cup. And when we brought along the Golden Grey Summer Carnival, they decided to rename a few races, and the Gold Coast Cup was one of them with the Golden Ticket. And this Thursday night, we have 4x4 dog shootout races, and then the following week for the final, they are 4x2 dog match races, and that will be determined by the fastest greyhound down to the slowest greyhound will be on times for their placing, and the winner of the Golden Ticket will be exempt from running in the heats of the Group 1 Gold Bullion in a couple of weeks' time, and they will get a ticket straight into the grand final of the Gold Bullion, lining up for $350,000 coming up on the first Thursday in February.
Have the nominations been released yet? And I believe that Throttle may even be over in Queensland for that series.
Yeah, well, there was a talk of Dave and Christine Robertson coming across with a team for the Summer Carnival, so let's hope we see them here. I've heard that Daniel Gibbons' greyhounds have stuck around following the futurity. Queenslanders like the up-and-coming Hello Mike, Shipwreck, Orchestrate are also aiming for the series, and so they will be released later this afternoon. The fields will come out for the shootout races on Thursday night, so we're really looking forward to those, and some of those interstate greyhounds taking on some of the locals, as I've just mentioned.
Now, do you get to call at Ipswich tomorrow? I believe that you're being the number one race caller in Queensland. You've made an executive decision that you want to call the first ever pup in Australia of Tommy Shelby, who makes his debut at Ipswich tomorrow.
No, I don't know where you got that, Pete. I'm not calling tomorrow.
You got the day off, but it's exciting, isn't it, for Australian greyhound racing, especially over here in the West. There's such a big following for Tommy Shelby's pups, and we get to see the first one of them going around, and it will be in Queensland.
Yes, it will be tomorrow at Ipswich. Terry Spargo will have the duties there at Ipswich tomorrow, and I've informed Terry about this particular pup that's going around, trained by Jamie Hosking, and it's called Powered Up. And it's by the great Tommy Shelby out of Hesperides. And she was a very good performer, particularly on the Ipswich track for trainer Brian Francis. And this race over 431 metres tomorrow. So, and Jamie reckons that the greyhound is showing enough potential to be able to say that we'll be in the firing line there on Tuesday.
He's going to have some pups over in the UK coming up next month as well. John, thanks for joining us. Good calling, and we'll look forward to following the Queensland Carnival as it gets into full swing and it continues this Thursday night.
Pete, Leia, thank you very much for your time.
John Brasch joining us from Queensland. Let's continue on with greyhound gossip, Leia, and we're about to be joined by the state's leading trainer at Cannington in 2022. Remarkable year for the Crudelis, and Enzo Crudeli, the boss of the team. He joins us online this morning. Enzo, congratulations and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Same to you.
What a remarkable year it was, 2022. 98 winners alone at Cannington, winners at the other two tracks as well, but that was a remarkable season for you and the team.
Look, it was better than what it looks because we didn't really have talented dogs, so it was good. But, yeah, 98 is pretty good, pretty good.
Enzo, leading trainer at Cannington last year. Was this your first time winning the title?
Yeah, definitely first time, yeah.
What's it mean to you, Enzo, to you've sort of come through the industry? I remember a number of years ago that you and Graham decided to go full-time in training. What's it mean to you? We've seen for so many years the name Britton, Holson, Hobby in recent years, and now we have the name Crudeli as the leading trainer in WA. It's a real feather in the cap for you and the team.
Look, we do it together, me and Graham, so it's a real feather in the cap. Like you say, you've got Holsey, Hobby, all them talented trainers, very talented and good dogs, and to actually take it away this year, it's great.
Are there plans to do it again this year?
It depends if dogs come through all right. You've got to have a bit of talent. We've got a lot of young ones at the moment, whether they come through or not. We've eased it off a bit, but hopefully it's possible. But I don't know.
The Sandgroper's just around the corner. It's only 4 months away. You talk about those pups. Are there any exciting pups coming through that, might be going towards your Perth Cup? You've won a Perth Cup before, but going towards the Perth Cup and maybe even the slot race?
Oh, look, at the moment, they're coming through all right. There's a couple there that are looking pretty good, but, they've got to go on with it, and they're very young. Some are not even 2 until March and that, so hopefully they'll pick up and go, but, it'll be good if it does go through.
Enzo, we had Lewis Clay on earlier on, and I asked him this same question. Is there anything that you and your kennels are focusing on or aiming for heading into this new year?
Oh, look, just go along and get winners, get good dogs, and if any features come along, it'll be great. So, mostly that.
And you must be really happy as well with what Damien's been able to achieve in the short period of time. He had a remarkable season himself in his own right down at Mandurah in 2022.
Oh, look, the two boys are brilliant at dogs. They could go out and go really well as well. They're very clever at what a greyhound is and looking after them and that. And, Damien's done really well since he ventured out there.
It's remarkable what you've been able to pass on.
Oh, look, talent goes on, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and hard work, of which you're not frightened to do, and you've introduced that into your boys as well. Thanks for joining us. Good luck in 2023.
Yeah, thanks, mate. See you.
Good on you. That's a remarkable feat for Enzo and also Graham Leia to take out the leading trainer. We've dominated, or it's been dominated by the Britain's Holson hobby for probably 20 years. So for a new trainer to take over that title, and he went very close to getting 100, and I wouldn't be surprised with the team that he's got coming through that this year they might be able to reach that 100 win mark at Cannington. Of course, they had a lot more than 100 wins for the year, taking in the other tracks as well.
Yes, we have some very strong dogs and trainers here in WA. I'm looking forward to seeing how we head into the new year, especially now that we've had the tough year of COVID, come sort of to an end, Pete, and now our trainers are very likely going to be travelling over east and competing, I should say, in some of the group events over east.
It's exciting, isn't it? Also, I mentioned Throttle. He's been trialling really well. He's returned from that injury that he sustained prior to the Melbourne Cup Carnival, and for the Robertsons to send him across to Queensland for that rich stake money. And if he gets a start in the Golden Ticket, where it's match racing, and we know how quick he is, he certainly could go all the way in that and then get a ticket through to the rich final at the end of the month.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a big month of racing here. Well, not here, but over east and Albion Park. All the group racing happening for the month of Jan.
And what are you more excited about? Seeing Panama Pepper going around as one of the favourites in the Birthday Cup, a Group 2 race on Friday night, or seeing a young pup sired by Tommy Shelby making his debut on Tuesday?
Oh, it's hard to pick, Pete, but, my heart is with Pepper always, so I'll have to go with Pepper. Fingers crossed for him on Friday. And, of course, obviously, fingers crossed for all the Tommy pups coming through. It'll be a big year for Tommy this year.
A little bit of stake money involved on Friday, so I reckon that might sort of lean that way towards you. Good to have you and I back on Greyhound Gossip for another year. It started all back in 1997, not with you, but you've come on board, and it's great to have you. Yeah, have you on board. Looking forward to what is going to be a remarkable year. You mentioned the ladies in chasing over in Queensland, and we do it so well over here in Western Australia with so many leading trainers. We've got the Sandgroper coming up and the Perth Cup just around the corner. Of course, over in New South Wales this week, we've got the Paws of Thunder, and then we'll get into the Temley and the Australian Cup. The Greyhound of the Year was voted on last night, and we've got our Greyhound of the Year function coming up at the end of January, which is great to see that we acknowledge those in 2022 so early in the new year. It's exciting though, isn't it, this year?
It is, and all the other awards as well, the Young Achiever, Media Award, all coming through. So I'm very excited for the event, which is, usually we have it a little bit later in the year, Pete, or around March, April, but now we're having it in January, so at least we don't have to hold our breath too long to figure out who the winners are.
Yeah, I think it's great that we can acknowledge them so early on and move forward. There's lots to talk about in greyhound racing. We mentioned the new box choices that's going to happen over the 275 metres, the preferential box draw. So that'll take place later this year, and I'm sure more information will come out from Racing and Wagering WA over the next couple of weeks for trainers to be able to get their teeth into. You're about to get into race day, Leia, and then we'll have a big weekend of greyhound racing with greyhound racing continuing tonight at Cannington.
Yes, and speaking of Cannington, 12 race card at 6:07 p.m. You unfortunately won't be calling all the action. Pete, have we got a replacement caller?
Jesse Earnshaw will be calling tonight. I've unfortunately been struck down by COVID, so I'll be isolating for the 5-7 days at home, and hopefully I don't get it too bad and I'll be able to be back calling later on in the week.
Well, fingers crossed, Pete, and hopefully have a good recovery. We'll be back soon with a race day. Thank you for your company.